Here's a conversation we had with LLA alumnus Vikram Hingmire. He's currently an architecture and interior photographer based out of Sydney, Australia.
So almost like 18, 20 years, I worked as a landscape architect. So I was in India with my own office, and then I shifted to Dubai for my further development kind of a thing. During that process, of course, I traveled a lot, understood a lot of architecture around the world, and the Dubai was a kind of a hot place at that time, where all architects, all designers in all fields, like sculptors, photographers, you name any artist, they were all there. It was a huge exposure for me. Basically, they came there for the design, and there are pros and cons for that too. Like they just dumped everything there and went off, kind of a thing. Some people liked it, some people don't like it, but I was one of them who didn't like much, and then I said I had enough of it. So I got out of that, and I was looking for a little bit work and kind of a life balance kind of a scenario, and I had enough of corporate life. I just shut down everything on one night, sent a resignation, and went to Uti. I don't remember what I said to Anu ma'am or sir. I said, either you give me the admission or I will be working as a watchman there, but I'm not going back to Dubai. So I just fell in love with Uti, and I was there for almost 1 year. And that was amazing. That changed everything from unlearning whatever I learned till now. So I wanted to scratch it off and go back to zero. I used to do a little bit of wildlife, and because of the travel and all those things, I thought like I should learn a little bit more sincerely about photography, understand. I don't want to become like a trigger happy guy kind of a thing. Out of 10, one gets fluked out kind of thing. Understand what this photography is exactly, and it was big eye opener for me. I passed out in 2015, and now this is 2021. First 2 years, I was trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. Since my background was on architecture, so I thought the architecture will be a good point to start with because I understand a little bit of that. But I also liked, because of Mihir, I started liking food, and then I jumped into food, and it was just a kind of a initially hobby, and then a kind of a one restaurant approached, and they liked some particular style, and we went ahead and shoot for that. When we start looking at the food photo as a photography and the commercial approach to it, you tend to need more people around you. Like, you need a stylist, you need prop collectors, and other lighting units, and all the helpers and all those things. So I was trying to become like more of an independent one-man show kind of a thing, because working in India and working outside India, there are two major differences. You get a lot of helpers there with a little bit less financial burden on you. But if you come to Australia, you are supposed to put a lot of money to get that sort of a commercial help kind of a thing. So here you have to be like one-man show all the way, from sweeping the studio to cleaning all the equipments, props, everything. And then again, you're going back to the shoot also. Yeah, but it's fun to learn. In the last 3 years, I learned that. So basically, I was just judging myself between food and architecture. But then when I started coming into architecture, I felt more ease there. My architectural knowledge or the previous experience helped me in that way, while understanding the language, understanding the talking to architects. So almost like within first 15 minutes, we are all on the same page kind of a scenario in every meeting, which was a little bit less in food because I couldn't understand the chefs, what they're talking about, what style they're talking about. So I used to dig a lot before shoot kind of a thing. So it's a good thing, nothing wrong in it, but architecture was a bit more ease for me. Architecture, now I'm looking at it to more of a commercial approach to it, and definitely I changed my portfolio to more of an architectural photographer kind of a thing. But I don't say no to food, definitely. Initially, I used to look at architecture as a complete package, but then when I started going into deeper, there are so many different branches in architectural photographer. Each magazine requires different approach towards photography. Like there are like architects are there are interior designers are there are stylists there are builders there are plumbers there. So each one requires a very different approach for their product to be shot, and who appoints you. So when you provide a portfolio, what sort of images you need to give it to them is a big topic to discussion kind of thing. So it almost like half a day we meet and then we discuss about who is involved in it, who is going to present what, and who will be there to show the details, actual side details. That happens before now every shoot. Yeah, so basically, when any architectural sculpture or anything comes to you for the shoot, there are a few questions I ask them. Basically, asking architect is for two reasons. One, because he knew that baby from the beginning, like right from the scratch on paper kind of a thing. So it is important to understand what he want to highlight when he wants, because these photographs are going to be a kind of a representative for his work. So he has to be on that same level as what we are talking about. It is like almost like immortalizing that his work through those photographs kind of a thing. So we need to talk with him as many times and as annoying as it can be, basically getting information about what he thought about the light conditions. Is there a particular textures he want to highlight? Is there a new material he tried something, or is there a combination of materials what he was looking for and in that particular light or that particular time of shooting kind of a thing. Then when you visit particular place, of course you will check the light conditions and all those things. But what I like more about is that the human figure against that particular volume, that itself gives a very unique character to that particular each house kind of a thing. It gives a scale, it understands how large compared to that person who's going to be there kind of a thing, and what he thought about it. So, and how that light itself affecting that entire room in a from mood point of view, or like the texture highlighting point of view, or what it is going to do at that macro level kind of a thing. So these things we definitely need a two-way. One, you need to find out for the correct light conditions when you're shooting, and when you are post-producing that, will you be able to translate that mood through your post-production? Of course, everybody does the post-production. We try to avoid post-production and do everything organically. That's a good thing. But sometimes some architects prefer to show everything, whatever it is available there. It might be an exit sign there or some lamppost there or anything. Sometimes some architects say they are all right if we don't show the light switch or that sort of a thing. So we need to balance it out. Sometimes we assume few things as a photographer that, oh, it doesn't look good. But if the stockholder or the architects need that particular information from their point of view, we definitely need to cater that too. So these are the very practical points which when kids will come out and when they face these architects and other clients, we definitely respect them. And then of course, then you have your own artistic approach for each photograph. That is your own style. You do that. But also you need to understand that there are people who are looking at it from this point also. So right now, what I'm looking at, I'm still like, it's a huge field to learn about. Every year I find somebody very different person to look up to. Nowadays, I'm looking at the Frank Hamill and Minty and Vincent Munier and all these guys. Like when I look at them, I look at it more of a minimalistic approach kind of a thing, and the way the philosophy behind it. So I never thought the wildlife photography will be so poetic when I see the Vincent Munier's photograph kind of a thing. What I understood out of when I see their portfolio, they are all like more minimalistic, but with a lot of content in it. So each year my legends keep on changing. So this year I'm just following these 4 or 5 guys, and it just helps me to improve my portfolio. Now I started looking food as my personal work kind of a thing. I get influenced by these influences and I convert that into my food work. It's kind of a more of a minimalistic, more of a light, and more of the the basic character of that particular element kind of a thing. So I started working on something called raw ingredients. Here, like, this is what I found, like in Australia, here there are something called, in India also we have it, something called farmers market. If you go to these market places or the villages nearby, you can pick the things there on the field. So I usually go with my equipments and pick the things which are good for the shoot kind of a thing on the field, rather than allowing them to get for you kind of a thing. I keep doing that whenever I find something weird tomato or weird food kind of thing or weird grain kind of thing. So it is still going on. It is like an ongoing project which helps me. If I have like a day off, or when I'm like totally stagnant with ideas from the architectural part of it or anything, and I want to do something totally drastic apart from the architectural shoot, or the climate doesn't allow me to go outside, then I go back to the studio and do this. I have a little bit of small garden back there, so I get some lavenders and all those things just to understand basic light on it. So it's basically started with the some day-to-day vegetables at home, and how you enhance the light on it and get the things out of it. Yeah, that was how it was, but slowly it became like a workbook kind of a thing. Yeah, it's good to do some kind of a hobby or your body of work kind of a thing on a personal level. Somebody somewhere, someone might like that, and it will go to the next commercial approach. I understand that that doesn't bring food on your table, but it gives a definitely a kind of eye opener, or some kind of a view to your work from client perspective kind of thing. Definitely, like somehow it gets unconsciously, it started becoming a bit more minimalistic in architecture also, and even interior also. Even though the interior shots were like too many props, I was trying to get them as minimalistic way compared to the previous one. And I think that is a big influence from this 3-4 guys which I'm looking into now, and it is helping me to unclutter the thing kind of a thing. So sometime I become a bit rude to tell client not to put things, and I was not like that before to them, but the photographs are becoming a little bit good. This is what I feel, and you need to be something like that to make sure that things which you don't feel comfortable in that frame, get rid of them. Lot of other elements like light, texture, all these elements become more important compared to the props. That gives a photograph a very different direction altogether. Initially, all the photographs were more of influence of my previous travel, but now I'm a little bit more settled and trying to get rid of all these clutters. So I think that is the next step for me to improve myself kind of a thing. So I like, even in architecture, there is something for the real estate projects. Real estate agents need everything so fast. Shoot, and next day, 24 hours, you deliver them those images. It's good to get money out of it, but focus more energy on the really beautiful architectural structures, or where no matter how big or small, but it's more of the materials used, the details used. If you can discover those, that will bring up more in your portfolio. When kids will come out from LLA, they will need to see what is commercially viable and what is artistically viable, and then you try and balance out. Then at the end, you will come to know that this, if I do this particular branch, I will be able to manage both, and that is their kind of a niche kind of a thing. It will work out for them. And that 1 year, I was looking it in very different manner. I was 44 or something that time, and entire batch was in 20s. I had to compete with them on physical level. I had to compete with them on a raw intellectual level, and I just enjoyed that. At my age, the ideas and the what you can say, the creativity is almost like frozen. I think all corporate guys at that age should come back to this 20 guys and start struggling with them. And that is the biggest, it keeps you alive. To fight with them for on a physical level was the biggest challenge for me. Yes, I could solve the problems much more easier than those guys because of whatever the experience I had. And but the ideas created by those guys are worth fighting for. And to put your photograph next to them, it was the biggest challenge for me. And that is what I learned. Like, they were absolutely great. Each one was amazing.
Okay, tell me some interesting stories from what something that you remember, anything particularly memorable about LLA.
Oh man, there are so many things. There are so many guys. I just miss every day. I miss this LLA. Sometimes I just feel I should teleport myself and sit there next to you, kind of a thing. There, I can call these kids, but like there are few colleagues were there. It's like a big family for me there, and absolutely great people, great work, and like, of course, they were also learning at that point. But apart from what they gave me, there was a kind of a childhood. I enjoyed that 1 year. I'll, like, no matter how much money I will pay anybody, but I will never get that experience again. So it is absolutely beautiful piece. So it's like very peaceful for me there. I have met like a few people there, like of course Iqbal sir, ma'am, the entire Akka team, and it's a part and parcel of joining that LL, and you will get that every year. You will get that. But what I got out of like Sudanwa, Mihir, all other faculty, Kavita ma'am, they gave me so much of knowledge on all level, apart from photography, apart from like day-to-day life kind of a scenario. But they just made everything so comfortable there. It's absolutely peaceful memory, man. It's like a Zen space there.